Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and let me start by saying happy Monday to you. I know, you're like, Tony, don't ever say happy Monday to me ever again. Hey, don't you worry, because I've got some exciting things happening this week for you guys that should help you make your way through the weekend just a little bit more smoothly. Starting tomorrow, War Games is releasing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we do not have an exact release date from Respawn. They never really seem to give exact release times. We just know it's dropping tomorrow. As soon as it does go live, I plan on hopping on stream, playing quite a few hours of it on stream, and then I'll hop on off stream and bring you guys my first impressions video, hopefully of the War Game map, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the other changes that are making that way into that patch. I also love to see Respawn actually drop the patch notes, because honestly, if we can talk about that first and foremost and really mess around during the stream with some of the substantial changes to the game, Scorch buff, please, that would be really exciting. Almost probably more exciting than the introduction of a new map for Livefire, as well as the return of War Games and all of the other changes like the third weapon slot we're getting. There's a lot of exciting things potentially happening for Titanfall 2 tomorrow. My biggest question, honestly, is what's happening with the high time to kill playlist and whether or not that's going to stick around. Is it being implemented into the full game? Is Respawn going to at least let us know what they're doing with that? I guess tomorrow we'll get some answers, or maybe we won't. Either way, we'll definitely be talking about it on Twitch as well as here on the channel. Now, Wednesday, it's hump day, but it's also a really damn big, exciting day. I'm going to be squatting up starting at noon EST as soon as servers go live for the Lawbreakers beta. I'm going to be playing alongside of Jably, Frothy Omen, and Sage as we get our 0G squad goodness going and play a lot of Lawbreakers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking an all-day stream. I'm going to stream that game until I fall asleep and start drooling on my keyboard live on Twitch. So bring a drink, bring some snacks. At any point during the day, head on over, check out the stream. I'm going to have all of those Twitch accounts, so Jably, Sage, and Frothy, all linked down in the pinned comment below. If you want to give them all a follow, turn notifications on, you can bounce across the different streams, throw up a multi-stream for yourself, and watch the different perspectives as we all play different heroes in different combinations across the different modes and just mess around with all the goodness that is dropping inside of the Lawbreakers beta. They're actually making some pretty substantial changes to some of the heroes or the classes in the Lawbreakers beta. Some modifications to the Assassin. The Juggernaut is hopefully getting the buff that he desperately needed. A lot of things to be looking forward to as Lawbreakers gets closer and closer to permanently being in our hands and permanently being a part of this channel. I wanted to have a bit of a micro discussion with you guys, leave you something to think about, some food for thought, if you will, as we move into this week. And that has everything to do with map DLC for Titanfall 2. Now, I know a lot of people are already looking at War Games as just another remake, while plenty of us, I think, are very excited to just be getting more content and more maps added to the mainline Titanfall 2 roster. It's great to see them still working on maps for Livefire, and I understand why they can produce a new Livefire map pretty much every single update. It has to be way easier to produce Livefire maps. These are maps that don't need Titans. These are maps that focus purely on pilot mobility and rather simplified objectives. They don't have all of the complications that need to exist to make a full-blown map like Glitch possible. You need to really realize the size of Respawn's team currently. I think even before they started working on other projects, they probably had around 160 people working at Respawn, at least by the numbers that I've been pulling up. That's actually not that many developers. A lot of modern AAA titles are produced with thousands of people. Making a map is no small task. Making a map that works and that is fun is an even more difficult one. So no, Respawn isn't capable of just pumping out a new map every single month. When you look at the ratio of DLC that they've been putting out compared to a lot of their big studios, you really do have to respect the work that Respawn has done, even if it means bringing a lot of Titanfall 1 maps into the Titanfall 2 experience. That is obviously something that is much more doable for them, which is why we see the return of Angel City and Colony and now War Games. The thing is, I'm both excited and also consistently concerned about the return of Titanfall 1 maps when it comes to Titanfall 2. I think certain maps from Titanfall 1 could work really well in TF2, while others I think just have absolutely no place in a game that just features more fluent, more easy to manage mobility and movement. There's just something about Titanfall 2, the way the game flows, the time to kill as it currently stands, the way that Titans exist, the time to kill for Titan combat. Things just play out differently in Titanfall 2. Not every map from Titanfall 1 is going to be a perfect fit, and I think when we look at Angel City and Colony, especially at launch, those were maps that were great examples of how poorly a Titanfall 1 map can actually play out in Titanfall 2. I think a lot of it really does come to just how the players decide to play on those maps. For example, Angel City to this day is a map that goes 50-50 for me. Sometimes I have great matches where everybody's flying around, making use of wall runs and wall run chaining, and it's a really fun experience. Other days, it's nothing but a G2 lockdown fest, and the rooftops become death from above, and it's nearly impossible to compete unless you too give in and equip that G2. It's a frustrating experience about half the time, which is why it's still not one of my favorite maps. Colin, on the other hand, went from a map that was pretty much unplayable around launch, in my opinion, a map that I enjoyed, but a map that was dominated by pilot sentries, G2s, and AWOLs, to a map that is grapple heaven for most players, and a map that I really enjoy as a pulse blade and stim user. If I'm blasting around using my Kraber or just making my way through the corridors and the tight buildings using my car, it's a map that I have a lot of fun on. And I think when the Titans fall in modes like attrition, it's one of the best maps in the game. It's also one of my favorite Titanfall and LTS maps. So Colony worked its way out of a position where it was probably one of my least favorite maps, and it's now one of my favorite maps. So it has a lot to do with not just the map's design, but how the community looks at how they want to play that map most frequently. Now, Glitch, being our first and only brand new map for the most part, was just one that managed to hit it on the head. It's a map that fully embraces the idea of wall running, mobility, flow, and just creates a really great Titanfall 2 environment, which is one of the reasons I'm really excited for War Games. War Games has a lot of Glitch DNA in it, or vice versa. The thing about War Games is that it also features some of the DNA from maps like Colony and Angel City, so I think it's going to be a really great blending of the two. Now, I think in the past, I might have went a little bit too all in saying that I want every new map in Titanfall 2 to be just like Glitch. I think there's plenty of room for maps that offer a different flow, if you will. You look at a map like Dry Dock, you look at a map like Boomtown, these are maps that I really, really enjoy. They don't necessarily have the same flow or the same pacing as Glitch, but they still work really well in Titanfall 2. Both those maps providing a lot of variety in verticality, in close quarters, and open gunfights. That's why I really like those maps. So I started looking back at Titanfall 1, and I wanted to handpick one map to me that could be completely different from like Glitch, and completely different from, Angel City even and Colony, that I thought would fit well in Titanfall 2. And then I wanted to ask you guys to do the same. So looking back at Titanfall 1, ask yourself what map, if you could pick one map, would you love to see make its way to Titanfall 2, but then tell me why. What sort of combat flow, what sort of environment and gameplay do you think that map would offer? The map that I've chosen is Export. I had the opportunity to play quite a bit of Titanfall 1 over the weekend as Frothy decided to stream some of it, so I figured I'd hop on and just play to kind of up the player count a little bit on PC. And we stumbled across Export. And I remembered Export being a map that I was very fond of in Titanfall 1. It's a map that has a great deal of verticality, a great deal of diversity in its layout. Just the way the map is designed is it's kind of strange, because the two spawns are sort of parallel with the same axis that the map actually climbs up on, like where the verticality exists. So you have everything happening down by the dock, by the water, where the canal area is, basically where ships would be exporting and importing goods. And then you have the climb that goes up to where more of the, the buildings are, some of like the shop type areas and whatnot. There's some small corridors and like courtyards, a lot of interior spaces, but a lot of rooftops as well. It's a map that you can very quickly traverse while above, or very slowly traverse while down below, making your way through. So it provides some different areas in which the combat can flow. You can have slow-paced stuff, you can have fast-paced stuff, and I actually do like maps with a lot of interior spaces. I think they're really fun to blast around in. And when I was playing Export and struggling so badly to remember how to bunny hop, and struggling so badly to remember how to actually manage my weapon's recoil and actually have to ADS, I got slaughtered a lot, but I had a lot of fun, and I kept thinking how well that map could work in Titanfall 2. A map that really did give us the ability to either traverse it very quickly, or to traverse it very slowly, more methodically, as we make our way through the interior, giving us some great gunfight opportunities. I know, a hell of a lot of opportunities to get kicked in the face with the melee, but that pushed aside a map that I think could do really well in Titanfall 2. So there's plenty of other maps in Titanfall 1 that I would actually like to see, or at least experience in Titanfall 2. I'm not saying that every single one of them would work, and I think it's very hard to actually know if a Titanfall 1 map is going to do well. Again, there's so much that goes on with how the players accept that map and then how they end up playing on it. Again, Colony and Angel City, I think, are great examples of that. So let me know, what map from Titanfall 1 do you think would fit really well in Titanfall 2, and why? What sort of combat flow would that map offer? Is it something that's going to be more like Glitch? Is it something that's going to be more like Angel City or Colony, or a hybrid of the two? Really think long and hard about why you enjoyed that map in Titanfall 1 and what it could be like in the environment that exists within Titanfall 2. That's your food for thought for the week ahead. I can't wait to hear your responses. There are so many maps in Titanfall 1. I know we all have our favorites, but make sure you look beyond that, because it might not necessarily always be the map that you loved in Titanfall 1 that ends up working really well in Titanfall 2. For example, a large portion of the Titanfall 1 community didn't actually like war games, and a lot of people are really hoping that it kicks a lot more ass in Titanfall 2 than it did in Titanfall 1 for them. Time will tell. Turns out it's just around the corner. We'll have our answer tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Any thoughts, questions, concerns, feel free to throw them down in the comment section below. And as always, remember to play smart, remember to play to challenge yourself, but most importantly, remember to play for fun.